ready to go on Dust. CAZ versus Team Infused, and this has got the feel of a grand final about it. This could be a very competitive encounter, and we're thinking maybe this would have been the grand final on the stage, but judging by the way that these two squared off against XBC, it's pretty much going to be these guys going to be lambs to the slaughter on the stage. But we're hoping that that's not going to be the case, that they'll have a few things up their sleeve to try and counter the Romanians, who have been looking super solid throughout this tournament. And it's going to be an interesting battle. Weber still hasn't left the T-spawn yet. He's got the Wazda keys, but he doesn't want to use them. And Mighty Max coming out to try and deal with Boaster, who's gone for a little push up from short, trying to get aggressive. He's been taken out straight away, so that's going to soften up the A.
Yeah, the early aggression really not working at all there and just playing directly into Team Infused hands. And as you said, it softens up A. It makes B weaker because they know they can't really rotate, and it means they have to go for something a little bit risky, and CAZ do it. They push upper tunnels, they get themselves that information. It might mean that they can catch these guys out on short before they can actually get the push going through. That could be huge. It's all going to be about the timings now and how fast Infused want to make things happen. The issue is they've gone for it straight away, and Aaron's going to be finding Robin right off the bat, so there's really no worry. Chat going to be going down in pit as well. And just like that, even with the push, even with the play that they went for and sort of how perfect it was in the situation, nothing is going to be coming off the round whatsoever. Team Infused roll over them. 4 players remaining alive for an easy first one.
Yeah, Aaron not messing around. 3K for him to open his account into the first round, and Team Infused are going to get that and probably going to push through and get the next couple you would expect. CAZ haven't got the cash injection of, say, a bomb plant that they can look forward to. But, is their MO to go and steal these rounds after they go and lose the initial pistol and get the next one straight back? So, going to see a fairly standard setup from them. Maybe that early aggression we are not going to see, he says, as Jacob goes and steps straight into Pulse, who's able to cut him down with the Galil in hand. Rotate already starting to make his way over towards the B site. Nothing too quick, though. Because it does give the option for Team Infused to float back towards mid, push it towards A, that kind of thing. And it looks like CAZ are trying to get some information here.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully they're going to be able to find it. Obviously, as you mentioned, in the finals of the Masters, they did manage to take these rounds quite consistently. I think all pistol rounds they lost, all second rounds they managed to game. But
yeah, 4 times.
Team Infused have at least managed to make this one, well, advantageous themselves early on. They're going to be continuing that trend now. Pulse out onto the site. Destroys Cryptics, finds them bin, just going to be continuing on to Boaster. Nobody dropped on the Team Infused side yet, and CAZ, unfortunately, they're not going to be able to get anything done. You can already see that there's going to be Chak all the way over towards Long. He is so far out of position, and Robin, he's just not in a place where he can actually push the site realistically. They don't have kits, they don't have utilities. They're just stuck in a position where, yes, you might be able to make it there. Yes, you might be able to find one frag, but that's going to be your lot, and it's just not worth going for when you have head armor. No,
it sure isn't. Aaron picking up a frag on Chak, trying to push out along doors. Not much he can really do in the situation that he's in. Robin's got spotted in the mid. He gets taken out, and Aaron is collecting a nice tally of frags. So it's pretty much Pulse leading the charge. Got the opening pick straight away from Jacob, who peeked, tried to get some information and walked straight into the iron sights. And Pulse was able to power through with the support of his team as well to put 3K on the board, and Team Infused have their second. So we're not going to see CAZ steal away a pistol. Next one going to go in the direction almost definitely of Team Infused as well, and then we'll have the first proper buy versus buy coming up, which is going to get interesting. And we've pretty much got AWP City going on. I think it was 7 AWPs last time we saw CAZ play Dust, so whether they'll go for the similar kind of play, maybe not to begin with, need to get that economy building and work on from there. Aaron going to maybe come long doors, and it could get unstuck by the situation they've got lined up. 2 players waiting to receive from long and just facing the angle. Connor smoked off from mid, so no pick's going to be coming in from him. Decides to instead float up short with a teammate for support, and they're now setting up for an A strat. Probably going to be coming in around about the 45-second mark, and it's pretty much a short stack.
I mean, that's just it. They know the areas that they have to scut around. They know the areas where they're going to be safest. And in this situation, short is probably their best bet. There's no real close range angles that they can't check on the push, and it allows them to get to that site without taking risks or with taking the minimal amount of risks. And guess what? It's worked. CAZ have 2 players stacked on long. They were hoping to catch somebody getting aggressive there. They have players in CT ready for the mid push. The one eventuality they weren't prepared for is the one that we end up seeing, and it means that Infused have another easy round. And if CAZ had anything to take from this, I'd say, yeah, fair play. They're holding on to their players' lives, but at the moment they're sat with nothing to do and 5 players stuck on stock pistols only. I'm hoping we see some exits here, otherwise it is just a bit of a given up round, and CAZ is actually going to be giving us at least one of those. Connor trading his life and more, actually falling down long at the moment, so definitely a chance for more damage to be done. But unfortunately, CAZ is not going to be finding anything more. He drops, Jacob runs away, and it's sort of a nothing gain, nothing lost situation. The 3 remaining players on CAZ just fall away, try and stop Infused getting that little bit of extra money and prepare themselves for what's going to be coming in this next round. And as you said, it's the first bite. CAZ aren't going to be particularly rich, but this is their chance to get on the board. This is their chance to establish themselves. And this is the chance for the CAZ that we saw in the finals of the UK Masters to emerge once again.
Yeah, it sure is. Jacob gets nailed down to 36, so that's going to be a risky situation. I guess he will take that AWP towards the back of sight, so it's pretty much going to be a headshot to take him out anyway, regardless. And these guys have still got to be on point to make that shot. And actually, he's staying out in the open, so mid to B, 1 nade, something like that would be enough to do some serious damage and take him out of contention.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really anybody heading that way at the moment, but Weber's now coming in through the back towards B tunnels. I'm not sure if he's just going for the passive hold, but still, anybody tries to get aggressive, he realizes there's a weakness, it's going to be trouble. Fortunately for Jacob, though, it is going to be what looked initially like a short push, but now it's just transformed into more mid-presence. Infused don't want to move, Mark. They looked like they had something planned. They looked like they were going somewhere with it, and then they just gave up entirely and started rethinking what was going on. And, well, now realistically, they're still in that position where they could go anywhere. Hopefully, we're going to be seeing them make up their minds soon. And as you pointed out, if we see them go B, we're going to be seeing trouble because Jacob is tagged. At the same time, we see them go A, they're going to be in the same amount of trouble because an AWP on the retake, especially an AWP with that little health, is going to be hugely problematic. And I have no doubt that Infused could find themselves that A site.
Yeah, and they are running a little low on time, though, perhaps. And I guess Jacob, it's a tough rotate, but Connor is able to get Chak straight away. Robin's going to do what he can from Goose, and he's got the aim. Boaster helps out as well, so they know it's just going to be coming from long, and Jacob can maybe get the AWP into a position where he can lock this thing down. Aaron grabs Robin, who tries to jump out of the way and do what he can. That smoke is going to be enough to cover towards the site and allow for the plant to go in. Mighty Max has got the bomb in hand, and he's going to drop the package, and it's Connor getting tagged down as well. Only to 78, though, so it could have been a little more costly than it was. Aaron down to 35 as well, is maybe 1 nade away, but they haven't got it. Just a Molotov, which is on the hands of Jacob. He's going to be coming in, and Jacob goes down. So Cryptix is able to trade that away for Mighty Max. Boaster gets a frag on Connor as well, leaving Aaron last man standing. 35 points of health. He's an easy target as they go for that defuse. They have to. Cryptix just going to sit on it, and no, has to bob off. No kit in hand, and it wasn't enough. So Team Infused win the first buy versus buy. Yeah,
by the skin of their teeth. Up until now, on those anti-ecos, they've been looking pretty comfortable. We've had 4 players surviving, followed by 5, followed by 4. That round, they escaped with 1. Aaron was the last man, and it does mean that their economy is going to be taking a little bit of a hit. Fortunately, they now have a little bit more time to bolster it, as CAZ are going to be back down on those pistols, so it should be another cleanup. But it's still, it shows CAZ have potential in this matchup. It shows that they're not out of it yet, despite what we have seen right at the start, because they're definitely still in contention, and that gets shown in this round as well. Boaster comes in, Deagle in hand, a fairly weak buy overall, manages to equalize things early on, and from what we saw again in the finals of the Masters, because that's where we really saw CAZ come into their own, I think, so far this weekend. When they've got these pistols in their hands, they are still a credible threat, and they are still a team you have to watch out for. So there's a good chance we're going to be seeing something else exciting happening.
Yeah, tidy 1D from lower. No chance to really retrieve that weapon unless someone goes on the rotate behind it at lower. Jacob tries to do what he can, and that is absolutely nothing. He just gets swarmed by 3 players all looking in his direction. So there's going to be a plant coming in and a chance for a potential retake, but they've got tunnels well and truly locked down, so making sure that there's no weapon that can be retrieved. I think there might be an AK down in the lower that they could maybe go for if they want to rotate that way, but no such luck. And Chak, he's thinking about it. Going to go in from the tunnels. Aaron's there. And that's crisp. He's sort of late to the punch, but is able to find the face, picks himself up an AK, and maybe they can call that job done, especially if there's another one that's available. Weber's thinking about it with the AWP, and that would be big economic damage if he got dropped with that, even if CAZ can't retrieve the thing.
Yeah, as long as they could keep them away from it, it'd definitely be something fairly big, and it's just about what Boaster's going to be able to do in the position. He's not really going for the peak, and there's going to be a lot of players there to face him if he does peek up, and unfortunately he goes for it at the end and just can't make it happen. Weber a little bit quicker on that draw with the AWP in his hand, so They hold on to that at least, and Infused do manage to get their economy rolling again. This time not with 4, but with 3 players surviving. Still definitely where you need to be. Still leaving themselves in a good position, and still leaving themselves in a position where, well, they're on what, 4 or 5 times the economy of CAZ. CAZ are still in the dumps. You got the hundreds of dollars with 1 player on, I think, about 2 grand on their team, and on the side of Infused, everybody is very, very comfortable indeed. So even if they lose one, they're still going to be in a good position. I think they're going to be happy for that after this round, because suddenly the tide has turned and CAZ are looking set to find themselves around.
Ooh.
Pulse now the last man left alive, and he's definitely going to be doing work. Finds himself 2 to try and keep his team in it and manages to make it at least a playable situation. I mean, the bombs dropped. CAZ do have control of it, but in a 1v2 as opposed to a 1 versus 4, you've got to think he has a much better chance. And from what we've just seen of him there, I would say that there is some slight sliver of hope that this could be his round.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is doable. It's a winnable situation for him, especially with the 2 players stacking around here in long. I mean, Robin, I want to say he's not a main AWPer as such, but from some of the action we saw from him yesterday, he sure knows how to use that weapon, so he's not an easy target, and that Molotov that's going to just slow Pulse down, make sure that he can't get in for the time being. Boaster on the pre-fire, so they know where this attack is probably coming from, knowing they've got the AWP to lock this thing down. So Pulse is peeking the angle, and Boaster almost seems to pre-fire, but it's kind of like a shoulder peek from Pulse, and he is found. So CAZ get their first one on the board. Got to be careful though, the reset does not come in, and they've got to be just a little wary about this and make sure it doesn't run away from them too much. But for CAZ, you know, playing on the arguably tougher side, and just got to make sure, as Jacob gets tagged on the cross yet again, that they just keep themselves in contention.
Yeah, I mean, that's an unfortunate way to start the round. As you said, they lose this one, they're going to be getting reset, so it's sort of one they need to get on the board. And they need to get it on the board in convincing fashion. With 2 players surviving the last round, their economy does need that extra little bit of support, that extra little bit of development. So it's sort of crucial, and Jacob getting tagged yet again through those doors is not going to be helping them out one bit. Fortunately, he's not the man holding on to the AWP in this round, so there's that little bit of consolation that they're not going to be losing the most expensive weapon as and when he goes down, if he goes down. But still, it weakens their B-site hold, and if they can't stop Infused finding that tag fairly consistently, then at a point you've just got to think, okay, do we waste a smoke on it? You know, they're already using a nade, but if they can't make that work for themselves, then maybe invest more heavily in it, because it's going to be extremely useful. This round, though, it doesn't seem like it's going to be mattering too much at all. Infused set up more towards short and trying to play for the mid to be fake. They chuck those smokes out, they try and draw CAZ's attention away, and then they go straight in for the push, and Colin's going to be finding Robin to start things off nice and quickly as well. There's still a man pit in the form of Chak, but he's not going to be finding himself anything bar the man long, and realistically, even if he wants to find Aaron, he is going to have to go and get extremely aggressive. So Chak actually going to be going for it, and Aaron picks him up just like that, extremely easy there, and it means that CAZ suddenly are down to 3. Jacob on 36 HP. Cryptics and Boaster do have a little bit more to work with, but the utilities are few and far between. So they decide they're going to be falling off and take it through to the B site instead for a little bit of a save. And the real question now is, do Infused hunt for them, or do they let this one slide? And I think we've just got our answer.
Yeah, it seems like they are well and truly going for this one. Full commit. I think they are going to escape with it unless Pulse wants to go for a cheeky last-minute jump in, but I think he decides against it, and if he wants to go and take on 3 players, then he's more than welcome to do so. But it is going to be Team Infused picking up another one, so reset does come in. CAZ, though, they've got weapons to work with after that save, and they're going to try and just dig their heels in a little bit. Got to be careful this doesn't run away from them, which can easily happen. Even though this is a T-sided map, well, if you put yourself in a position where you've got to be flawless, then it's not ideal. Cryptis gets 1 straight away, and this is something he's very adept at. And Jacob with the spray down, he's got 2, make that 3, and drops the bomb straight away. So aggro push coming in from Team Infused, and they stall, and Weber with the AWP, he does get 1, but you know, the long attack where they lost their first round and CAZ picked it up was basically set up by them pushing out along, stacked on the utility in there, and Team Infused stalling. So that's something they've got to be wary of, and maybe they want to think about just going for the split and pick approach, which seems to have worked fairly well for them for the most part.
Yeah, quite possibly. This round's still looking interesting, though. You can see Weber toying with the idea of going a little bit more aggressive on B, and I mean, he has the space to do so. They've left it completely open. Nobody's getting aggro. Nobody's getting in his face. CAZ are playing it smart. They're waiting to hear that bomb go down. They're waiting to hear him make a move, and at that point, they're just going to flood in on him. He can't take all of them on, especially with an AWP in his hands. The most he's really going to be able to hope for is maybe a pick and a plant, and he's going to be going straight for the pick, but the shoulder gets spotted out before he can do anything whatsoever, and Robin just through the wall clears him up. It's another round on the board for CAZ. It's a little bit more economy saved in terms of that AWP, and it's exactly what they needed to do because, I mean, in essence, it puts them in the perfect position. Infused Economy is now the one in trouble after they've bought these AKs. They're going to be back down to where they lose this round. They can't really buy into the next, at least not in any real fashion. And CAZ suddenly have a chance at catching up because as much as this is a slightly T-sided map, you want it to be going sort of 6-9 at the furthest distance. So they need to get something on the board. And it's nice to see that they've definitely put themselves in a position where that's looking possible. And Boaster might be able to extend that lead a little bit further. He's going to have players lining up for him here, and he's just going to be watching through. Weber, though, a little bit too quick. Spots him out of the box, deals with him swiftly, drops the smoke, and heads towards B instead. So this one looking like it should be Infused push, as they are going to be able to swarm this site with every single player and just overwhelm them in terms of numbers alone.
Just go en masse. It's going to be the plan, just trying to hit him hard maybe. Jacob, though, he peeks the window. He's not messing around. Cryptix peeks into the tunnel, and Pulse, he's got access to the site, as has Connor. So the retake now needs to come in, you would think. So there's plenty of time to get that plant down if they want to go for it. But Pulse with the bomb, he goes pushing out of the window and gets caught with it. So now it makes it easier for CAZ to get themselves into an angle, but the collateral was on for a second. They do pick things up, so 6-3 team Infused, and it's now starting to become a bit of a backwards and forwards affair between these two guys. But CAZ, they have broken themselves a 2-round straight win streak. Not a whole lot, but nothing too much to really complain about. Apologies for the issues you might be finding with the stream. A little bit of lag going on. We're trying to get that sorted out at our end, and that should be resolved pretty quickly. You might have to go for a quick restart of the stream at some point just to try and tidy it up. But in the meantime, we are watching the consolidation final here at the Insomnia 58 Counter-Strike Open. Winner of this puts himself a spot in the grand finals on the main stage, so it is all to play for.
Indeed it is, and well, as you said, CAZ are playing for it superbly at the moment. They had a little bit of a slow start, but they're managing to get themselves back into it, and this looks like it should be another round. Infused have done a good job in terms of grabbing themselves positions, but so's Boaster, tucked away there, and Goose manages to find 3 in a row and leaves Mighty Max as the last man alive. And unfortunately for him, he's just not in a position to do anything more with the Tech 9. That was a quick round indeed, and it's exactly the sort of round CAZ need to be getting. This is now their chance to bolster that economy. This is their chance to build themselves to where Infused were and catch up in terms of rounds, and they've closed.
So 13th round it is then. Winner of this gets themselves into the grand final, and by the sound of things, we might have been able to get the stream fixed. So feedback, let us know how it's looking in terms of that lag issue. That would be great in the chat. Thank you very much, guys. And Pulse straight away with a frag up onto short. So Boaster trying to get a little bit aggressive, and again, they've just given away a life a little too easy over towards the A site, which is not ideal by any stretch. And let's see how they work with this one. So Chak, he's just going to be holding quite aggressive on the long, going to be facing and just trying to stop anyone from getting in there too quickly. Oh, they've left the short open. Chak, he's got the ump in hand just to pick up some frags, and he's dropped the bomber. Aaron's still there though. That flash is going to be his saving grace, and he is in the end court. Robin going to do what he can in the spray down, and they are trading 1 for 1. Not ideal when Cryptix and Jacob are the last two left alive, and they've got to get on their bike over towards the beat.
And again, the rotate just didn't come in quick enough. I don't think there really was enough time for it to come in quick enough, but it means that as soon as the site's gone, they have an impossible task. It happened in the last round. It happened in this round as well. They can't really get anywhere, and it means that they're just stuck on short, already being watched. And, well, what's Jacob going to do? He jumps through the smoke. He tries to get something started for his team, but it's not going to be an intelligent play because there's not an intelligent play you can pull out in that situation. So it's another round on the board for Infused, and I think they've realized at this point, Mark, that if they split a site, they've got a pretty good chance of taking it because it's worked twice in a row for themselves now. They've managed to start taking rounds back off CAZ. They've managed to force CAZ back down into the position they were in earlier and essentially bully them back to the pistols, and so they're looking set to find themselves those 9 rounds that they wanted. And It's just going to be up to CAZ really to decide whether it's going to be 10-5 or 9-6. Obviously, it is going to be making a fairly large difference in terms of the game overall. As soon as you're in double digits, things do shift around a bit, but this one is looking a little like a given right now.
Yeah, it sure isn't. The pistols and Boaster though, he's spamming through the smoke and he's managed to do a fair bit of damage. And Connor's down to 64 points of health, Pulse down to 8. So this is possible, the situation for them to take if they go en masse. And they're thinking about it, and Jack through the smoke. Must have used the Tracer Fire to find Pulse, who's already on super low HP, so he didn't have to be crisp with that. Still got to try and get in and retake this thing. They've got 2 players down long. They are trying to get the boost on, and Connor, he's going to use the boxes as cover to try and spam through. Weber on the long, and yeah, I think we're pretty much calling this game over.
I mean, it might well be the case. Cryptix is going to be there. He is going to be trying to work his way in, but it's not going to happen. Nothing really that he could get done, and it does mean we see Infused find themselves that 9. But there's still 1 round left to go in the half, and it is going to be another full gun round. Jacob manages to find himself the AWP, but look at it. CAZ, even when they get the buy, they're not in best form. Jacob's going to be going glass cannon. They're going to be a little bit light on the utilities, and there's only 1 kill on Jack, so they get caught out with players in no position to rotate again.
Yeah, and
it's going to be the same old story. Yeah, it's going to be the same thing we've been seeing time and time again. Though they have they have players rather holding positions that are way out there, and they just can't get them to the sites quick enough. So I'm hoping we can see CAZ a little bit more crisp on that, but unfortunately it doesn't look like they're going to be crisper this round in general, as Jacob's already gone and Robin is already tagged down to 34 points of health. Infused just doing so much damage early on, and they've not even made a splash. They're still bunched up in mid, they're still not making a move, they're still not playing proactively, but they have done so much to hinder CAZ's defensive efforts.
Yeah, and it's really tough, as we talked about, to try and hold these sites. And sometimes you do just have to give the things up and retake, but that's not always going to work for you. And I guess for CAZ, you're looking at thinking, have they got enough rounds on the board? And the answer to that is potentially yes, but we'll have to see. And it comes down to what they could do on their pistol round. If they can pick the thing up at, well, they get to 9-6, 10-5, then they can bring it a lot closer. Potentially, Boaster, nice work. He's crisp, but he peaks again. I don't know why he's not just sitting on the ramp and letting them come up, because they will have to go. Instead, they're going in 1 at a time, and this is amateur hour, and Mighty Max is able to get one of the rotators, and that is far too easy for him.
Yeah, I mean, they had a little bit of a slip up there halfway through, or maybe a quarter of the way through, because it was halfway through the first half, obviously dropping 5 rounds, but apart from that, Infused looked extremely solid. I mean, they've been finding themselves those sites, and when they haven't been doing that, they've been just dominating on the scoreboard in terms of frags. You're quite right, they're making it look comfortable. If we see their CT side being anything like their T side, and if we see them finding themselves this pistol round, then they are going to be in the perfect position to do damage early on. At the moment, though, it is going to be CAZ coming straight through onto B. 5 players out already, and Connor being taken down. Weber manages to find one, but he gets blocked out of sight now. He can't make any more noise through window, and there's a smoke at doors holding him back. So he's just waiting for his team to get there, and he has at least made it a 4 versus 4. He has at least made it possible. Still, it's going to be difficult for them to get back in. A single smoke and a solitary flashbang going to be all they have to use throughout, and it's just not going to be good enough. Jacob finds himself 2. Weber going to be coming in with another one, but he can't manage to make more happen, although as I say that, indeed he does. Finds himself Chak, and at least tries to put something on the board for his team. He's the only man finding frags in this round, and he's already up to 4. He's found himself the kit, but there's just no time left. This one is going to be a disappointing one. Infused looked like they definitely could have had it. Unfortunately, it was just one man making it happen. Alright, and we're back. CAZ Esports starting this half off extremely strong. Managed to find themselves the first 2 rounds, obviously leaving Infused in a little bit of daze and leaving Infused without too many options. This round, Weber has managed to find one, so they do have the man advantage. But it doesn't look like they're going to be keeping it for long. Mighty Max already taken down. Pulse doing everything he can to keep the A site in their control, but it's just not going to be working. The P250 does a hell of a lot of damage to Robin, but can't quite land the frag in the end. And unfortunately for Infused, that does mean we're going to be seeing the bomb go down almost immediately. And I was about to say very little chance of the retake, but Robin and Jacob both on extremely low health, and if Chat can get taken out on short here, it would have been perfect, but instead he finds himself two. Starts things off, well, sorry, keeps things going for CAZ and makes sure that it's just Weber with the AK leaving this round.
Yeah, so nice stuff all in all for CAZ. And going to bring this thing pretty close. And Weber looks like he's going to lose his weapon, and does. Chak is on point with the headshot with the AK in hand. And see, so CAZ end up winning through the pistol and then end up grabbing the next couple going forwards as well. So we are going to be seeing the first buy versus buy underway yet again. And see how this one pans out. CAZ started things off in the right form, and if they pick this one up, then they'll probably force Team Infused back onto some kind of pistol situation, and this is their chance to bring it even, and maybe it'll be down to whether they can run away with the thing.
Yeah, definitely a good chance for them to get that done here. They're just going to have to make sure they pick this one up, and I mean, initially they're doing everything right. They're doing exactly what Infused were doing. Just, you know, set that mid control up, find yourself the presence across the map, play Dust 2 as one plays Dust 2. It's not the most complicated map. It's something both of these guys should 100% know how to make work for themselves. And at the end of the day, I think it's going to be coming down to the CT sides and how strong they are as opposed to the T sides more than anything. And, well, right now it looks like neither of them are particularly wonderful. Obviously, there is still time for Infused to show themselves. There is still time for them to get on the board, and this might well be their round. Just already, they're looking a little bit weaker than one may like. They don't have any smokes left. They're just going to have flashes and nades to hold off any push that comes through. And, well, CAZ, they've ran out the clock, and now they're just setting up on short to get that push going. I assume about 45, 30 seconds. And indeed, they will be doing just that. It's like clockwork, Mark.
Yeah, pretty much. He's done this before. He's watched some CS on Dust 2, and it is pretty much bang on right. Pulsar, he's trying to do the spray down, and he does, well, he doesn't miss, but, you know, he only manages to tray one for Robin. You know, if he'd taken him straight away, he could have focused more on the players running along from short. And Jacob, he's missed two fairly routine shots by his standards on players below him. Cryptic's able to get Mighty Max, and that Molotov's going to slow down any progress onto the ramp. This is pretty well played from CAZ so far, but can they hold this thing off? 3 versus 3. It's still even numbers. Aaron on low HP runs into the fire, but that dissipates perfectly timed. And now we've seen CAZ take advantage of this. Jacob, he's on point this time. He's under heavy fire from Aaron, but he does pick up that frag. Connor, he's trying to push, gets taken out by Double Stack, and I think the opportunity now to try and retake is gone. Weber goes for it anyway, but no such luck, and Cryptic's able to get an AWP, double AWP up, retrieved from the site, and they can use those and carry them forward as well. In CAZ, they are not afraid to rock 2, sometimes even 3 AWPs on Dust 2, and they've made it work for them.
Well, we are going to be seeing 2 AWPs T-side. That is an exciting prospect indeed. Jacob and Jack going to be picking those up, and it's the early peak long to start things off. Jack's ready, and he is on point. Takes out Pulse to get things going and make sure that CAZ at least take that advantage through at the beginning of the round. Unfortunately for Infused, it looks like that should see things tied up as well, as they're just going to be stuck on the pistols. There's not even a single set of armor, Mark. You got pistols, you got a couple of flashes. It's going to be nothing great, nothing perfect, and now that Jack's got the initial frag, the AWP gets passed back over to Robin, and you have a pretty powerful combo in him and Jacob on those big green guns. So it's just looking stronger and stronger for CAZ right now, and we're going to have to see Infused do something about it, but this shouldn't be their round, and indeed it isn't. Aaron was in a great position, but he couldn't make it work with the deagle. It means the site is going to be theirs fairly easily. Connor's there trying to get something done himself, but again, it just doesn't end up happening, as so often in this game it seems not to have.
No, and as predicted, CAZ have managed to get themselves into the 10-10 situation, and they're on the easier T side. So this is their chance to really hammer this advantage home. You look at Team Infused, they are fully committed to this thing again. The most money they've got left in the coffers is $700 in the hands of Connor. So let's see what they can do with this one. Need to be solid, and Weber, he might have an early play if they decide they want to force this advantage. He knows what's happening preemptively, and he's now looked away from it though, so not going to be any early picks towards the top of mid.
Yeah, I thought for a second we were going to be seeing mid control completely denied from CAZ, and in that situation, honestly, I think there would be a question of what would they do, where would they go, but It's regained. Weber gives up his stranglehold, and honestly, you sort of have to, which is why that is the default thing to do on Dust 2. It's difficult as a CT to stop them having that without getting extremely aggressive, and unfortunately what we're seeing today, neither of these two teams are really willing to get aggressive on their CT side. There's been moments, but it's not worked in large part, and fair enough to them. If you don't see a point in it, if you're not losing heavily, then that is just what it is. Hopefully, though, actually, something I quite like to see at the moment is a tactical pause mark. I don't think we've seen a single one. I'm not sure if they're allowed them, but if they are, chuck a tactical pause in if you're Infused right now, because you're in trouble.
Yeah, just slow things down a little bit. I'm pretty sure it is something that's available. I think we saw one last night when I was on board with Harry, and it certainly had that feel about it in the way that it was used. Anyway, Pulse, I thought he missed that by a mile, but he's on point, and so's Chak with his frag. Robin coming straight through, takes down Connor as well, so all the utility goes flying out of the site, and it's a 4 versus 3 advantage in favour of CAZ. They got the plant down, and this is a chance for them to take the lead. Force Team Infused back onto a scrubby buy, possibly an eco, something like that, unless they decide to retain these weapons, and I think that is exactly the plan. Little flick, and okay, 9k up on Chak. Cryptix has got 5k. This could be a good opportunity if they wanted to go and try and hunt down these players, but I think they've left it too late for that. Just go drop out, keep these 4 weapons, and build their bankroll for the later stages as they try and mount their challenge. But CAZ playing this really well now. They've got themselves the advantage, and they've got to hammer this thing home on the T side.
Yeah, and honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see them doing just that. I mean, you're talking about building up their bank, and indeed it was looking a little bit fragile in the last round. Now there's what? Chak with 11k on him. Cryptix with 7 grand left after this one. A couple of the players are looking a bit low, but they've at least got enough to get 1 or 2 buys in should things go south. So it's not really a bad position whatsoever, and if they can just continue hammering Infused the way they have been, then they're not even going to need to dip into it. And already in this round, we see the same thing happening that we have seen so many times in this match. This time in reverse, though. We keep seeing the tags through long doors, and Weber finds, oh, it works the other way.
Yeah,
I'm going to be having trouble with that as well. Loses 80 points of health, and is at a huge disadvantage from the word go. Now, though, it is sort of do or die time. Infused have put themselves in that position where they have to be able to win. I mean, I didn't even realize, but their economy in this round is tragic. They have nothing to work with if they lose, and CAZ are already starting to run away with it.
Yeah, as edging themselves into this position where it just looks like the beginning of the end, and it could be a downward slide unless they pick this one up, and then suddenly it mixes things up just a little bit. But they've got to try and keep as many people alive as they can, and just try and build that bankroll as quick as they can as well, because otherwise it could all be over. All you need is a reset to come in somewhere during what's effectively the later stages, with one team 5 rounds away from victory, and it could break the whole setup, and you can call this thing game over maybe.
Very possibly. Right now we're going to be seeing, guess what, Mark? More mid presence and another push coming in at about 30 seconds. This time a bit of a mid to B. And hopefully we can see something being done. Initially, Infused do look like they might be able to get something, because Robin gets tagged down in tunnels, but well, the mid presence looked like it was going to be working at least. Weber and Connor finally come back with a couple of frags of their own, but Connor's going to be taken down almost instantly. So we're back to the 3 versus 3, and Weber just doesn't have the health to log on. To hold on. Instead, it's going to be Pulse and Mighty Max left, coming in from behind, actually holding the bomb.
Yeah.
Bomb got dropped and there's no time. That is unfortunate indeed.
Yeah, they caught the bomb on its way into the site, so good rotate from CT. The other players had to hunt for the frags, and I don't think they quite realised until it was too late. It's one of those situations where you're so worried about getting your picks and getting into the site that you kind of lose track of the time and realise you've only got 2-3 seconds left to try and make something happen. And they didn't really play that in the right way, which is disappointing in the end. But it's the problem that you do have, is if you want to wait around on Dust 2, sit in the mid like you normally would, then fair enough. But at some point you've got to go and make a move somewhere, and if you're trying to execute it all with 30 seconds left to go, if things don't go exactly to your plan, i.e. you go and hit everyone, you don't run into utility, for example, in this case a Molotov dropped into the tunnels that slowed their progress for getting in, then you're kind of screwed, and they're back up against it. CAZ, they do have the money to handle this one, but Team Infused are going to be also looking to build a bit of a bankroll if they can, and they kept 2 players alive last time around with weapons.
I mean, for me, the whole sort of time issue is, what are you doing with that time? if it's essentially just a push at what? The beginning of the round is going to be the same as a push at 30 seconds if you're not doing anything with the time in between.
Yep.
Obviously, if they're using it to work on positions, if they're using it to bait out utility, if they're doing any of those things to give themselves the advantage when it does come down to it, it's entirely understandable. If we're going to be seeing 5 versus 5, extremely standard push coming in on one of the sites and just hoping that it works out a little bit better for them, why wait? Why take that chance where, you know, a player drops and suddenly the round is not recoverable for you? Just go for something a little bit sooner. And well, maybe we're going to be seeing something, well, no, not a little bit sooner this round. Maybe we're going to be seeing something similar this round, actually, as Robin and Chat get dropped immediately, and the bomb suddenly left all on his own long. 18 seconds left, and realistically, it doesn't look like he's going to be able to find his way to the site, even with Jacob securing A for them. That is, again, an extremely unfortunate round that realistically just shouldn't have gone the way it did, or shouldn't have been allowed to go the way it did, because CAZ had the potential to take it. You can see they're not having any issue finding themselves control. They're just having issue with time again.
Yeah, time and dropping the bomb in silly places, and Team Infused are back up and running with 12 to 11. So putting themselves back in the ascendancy, and look for CAZ so they can keep on buying. And yeah, there's enough room for them to maybe put down a drop or two if Cryptix can end up keeping himself alive at the end of this thing. There has been 2 straight rounds running down the time, and you don't see that happening very often in CS. Robin could be in trouble. Why have you got your knife out at that stage? And I think Aaron shot just a little bit too early, and a bit of a bait play. Robin able to pick it up, and if anything though, that trade does really favour the Ts rather than the CTs. It's gone and softened up one of the sites they want to be approaching, and they're going for a full short. Pulse, let's see what he can do. He's got heads to aim for. Pulse takes one. That's Robin straight away, and Pulse has the second. He's got a Molotov in there just to slow up the progress. Pulse and Mighty Max doing righteous work over towards the A site.
Yeah, and Infused suddenly looking like they want to be making a little bit of a comeback for themselves. I mean, CAZ did definitely come into it in the second half. They've put up a respectable score, but as you said, the 2 rounds where the clock ran down entirely, and then that one where they managed to take it with 4 players surviving, they're just looking essentially a lot stronger than I think anybody imagined. They've managed to force CAZ back down into that weak position again. Back onto the pistols, back to where they were right at the start, and back to the position where they were losing earlier on. They're not going to be happy. They're not going to be confident. And there's a very good chance we're going to be seeing this go to match point in the next couple of rounds. They should be able to get the buy-in next, but after that, where does it go?
Yeah, it's going to be tough, and Poles through the smoke. He takes Boaster straight off the bat. And, with their current form, you would have expected that would have been the bomb that got dropped, but it does get dropped outside the window. Chak and Jay can get in, and they need to get this plant. Going to be consolation money, if nothing else, to get the 800 bucks in the coffers. And that is going to be their plan. Pulse looking towards the window. I don't think these CAZ boys are going to be going for the push out of the site, especially now Jacobs managed to retrieve himself an AWP. So that's going to be interesting, and they might well be able to hold this thing off. What an eco that would be if they do pull this thing off. But 2 of them, 3 angles they've got to watch, and they are both currently looking in the direction of the window. Mighty Max really does the damage, comes in, gets the tag on one, gets the frag on the second out the tunnels, and that's such a tough spot, but you've pretty much got to have one guy dealing with window and door, one guy dealing with tunnels, and hope for the best.
Yeah, hoping for the best is never the strategy I'd go for, Mark.
No.
It's a bit like praying, you know?
A little bit,
It's the last resort. This round, however, I'd say hoping's probably going to be a good thing to do. CAZ don't want this to go to match point now because they have been having a little bit of trouble, and I mean, I think it'd be nice to see this one go a little bit longer. Obviously, Infused are going to want to pick it up, but 3 maps is sort of a given. I just want to see 3 extremely tense ones, because yesterday we didn't really get that pleasure, and I think a lot of people are sort of counting on this to be, well, the match.
Yeah.
Not the final, but definitely one of the most interesting at the LAN.
Yeah, I think this one's got the biggest potential to go to overtimes, to see a 3rd map, that kind of thing. I mean, Dust 2 is a great leveler, and for Team Infused, who are rocking some very talented individual players, this is a good chance for them to really show what they've got. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that now as they're in this position. Pulse with the AWP in particular has done some great work on this CT side when it's got underway. Made a few picks to the door as well as Connor. He's got two. Boaster and Chak go down in the tunnels, just keeping control with the smoke. And brave move to push through the smoke, but they've gone for it. And Connor's picked up the 3K already with Robin. Last man standing. He's given away his position with that 8K fire, but they will no doubt not be wanting to chase him down just yet. Let the timer tick away. They've got the bomb well and truly safe, and Robin is going to be left to retreat away and keep his AK. Potentially anyway. Pulse got a play. No play for Pulse. And Robin's going to keep this thing safe.
I mean, you can see why. Look at the economy. They're really not sat with a whole lot to work with right now. They've got, what, a couple of hundred between them. Obviously, this is going to be helping. Well, the loss bonus is going to be helping because they have managed to hit max. But it's still going to be a tight one. It's still not going to be the best one. And anything they could take through is going to be helping them. Robin has enough to upgrade his nades. He already had the armor. He already had the gun. At that point, it's more than worth it to hold on because they want, well, they need the best possible buy in the situation because this is the last chance. This is do or die for CAZ at the moment, and unfortunately, from what we've seen in the last couple of rounds, it could quite possibly be die. 3 rounds so far, the time's run out on them. That one obviously a save, but the 2 times before that, just bad play, and it's unfortunate. I thought we were going to be seeing them get it a little bit further. I thought we were going to be seeing them potentially win at one point in this map.
Yeah, and it was looking like it when they got themselves to the point of getting the slender advantage 11-10, thinking, yeah, they can really push their advantage on from here, but kind of threw that round away. Had a couple of times when the timers run down, just waiting too long before they execute the strap. So now make their way into sight. Pulse and Mighty Max have got a couple. Jacob, he's got to do what he can from over towards short, but I think he's just a little bit too late. He's trying to deal with rotators. Would have been perfect if his teammates had done the job over towards the site. They've got the plant somehow, but Aaron has only got one more player to find. That's Pulse. Defuse comes in, and that is 16-11 confirmed on the first map. So Team Infused steal one off of CAZ Esports, if you want to think about it that way, the UK Masters winners, and that is a little bit of a scalp. But I think there's a lot more great action to go underway as we go into the second map. So